What's happening, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to another episode of a Wild Time podcast. Hey, listen, we have had several guests. Excuse me, we've had some really good guests the past several times, and tonight it is no different. Thanks for subscribes, the likes, share this immediately. Tonight's guest is someone that I met. Actually, I became aware of him on the internet because of my love of horror, as anybody knows. And he has done a lot of cool things on the convention scene. He's got an awesome group on Facebook. As you can tell from behind, he's got a lot of great art up from some people he's connected with who I want to reach out to him. But this man right here is a hero of horror. He's a man that flies the flag high, and it is my honor to have him on tonight. Big John Henderson, John from Doomsday Krypt. How's it going, big man?
Going well, man. That was quite the introduction. I appreciate the
Well, I'm
kind
from the
words.
world of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, so I'm a little bit theatric on that. I like having all the guests come on and have them some entrance music.
Well, even that and the whole intro, the whole thing, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words. Yeah, we met
And
at what Scarefest, so
yeah, yeah, and it's
North
funny.
Kentucky.
It was awesome because me and my son made the trip down. He had basketball practice, so I picked him up and I was like, we'll go down, get back late that night. We got back late, but when I came across your table, dude, it was so like it was the coolest table that I'd seen at the Scarefest, and I actually came over and bought some stuff off you guys. You had a really good setup. You had one of the guys that played Jason in the shoot. Help me think.
Voorhees Night of the Beast.
Yes,
And
yes.
so,
There you go. And then you had Thomas Bruce with you.
yep, he's the one who's producing the find one. Actually, I sat my thing on it, but I know you got one yourself. But
Oh yeah. Oh, that's
yeah,
sweet.
the VHS boxes. So
Yeah, you
trying
gave me
because
the
I'm crunching
rundown.
here. Showed you.
You gave me the
Yeah,
rundown of
well,
each one of those boxes, and I bought the Leatherface one. And the way you had that. Listen, guys, I'm gonna explain this to you. What he just showed you was a excellent piece of memorabilia. That was it. Michael Toth that does the art for those.
Michael Toth does the art. Yeah, he did all these cutouts behind me. You see, there's more of them around the room. I'm still trying to. He did that Hellraiser piece. He did the Doomsday Crypt Three-Eyed Demon. So all the whole design, all that's Michael Toth. That's a new pumpkin head. That's actually going to be going with somebody. He did that Terrifier, and that's actually these are all black light too.
Oh, that's wicked.
So yeah, and then a bunch of different people. Like you see the big bus behind me. That's a guy named Vinny Cucarato who did a lot of the dioramas because, like on that, you got the Myers house that lights up. So big out a shout out to Vinny. Vinny Cucarato house is a horror guy to give him some love. I wouldn't be the table it was without those big busts to help me get started. That's a James Grimm mask he sent me on the middle one. That's just a trick or treat studio. Ari Krishna, we did that because Mike Christopher is a great guy. I don't know. There's just so much stuff I haven't even had a chance to set up since the other thing. We also got Lonnie McCullum who does some amazing work. He did that Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, the T-800. Then he also did that doc he's holding Savini's head. A good friend of mine, Salvador Onofre, who just beat cancer, made that leather face for me, and then Vinny made that the KOKLA radio station, Texas Chainsaw
Oh,
Massacre.
that
Too.
I seen those on the table. And Sal, actually, I spoke with Sal about that Texas Chainsaw mask, the recent Leatherface, and I was going to reach out to him and in the future get the same one. And I just came across it. It was funny how that worked out because he had sent you the one on the table, and I was like, man, it's so cool to see it in person. Instead of seeing it online also. But that table, like I say, man, is that so? That's what you're doing with Doomsday Krypt is you're hitting the convention scene, and you've got all these goodies you're bringing.
Well, yeah, I mean, it kind of started weird. It was like I did a mask unboxing, and it kind of just with the pandemic and what I do for work. I have one guy who's just big into masks. So I bought one mask and the addiction became strong. And I actually started as Doomsday Kingdom Army. I was doing like just trying to be supportive of my friend who did a comic. He's like, you should just do more horror and stuff like that. And I changed it to Doomsday's Crypt. And it's just, I don't know, it's only been going for like 2 years. Um, I just try to support different people in the community and show off their work at these conventions. I wish I could do half the cool stuff that all these people do. And it's kind of like an honor for me to just go and showcase these people. It's got into podcasts like you're doing. Um, it's been an insane ride, to tell you the truth. I'm still kind of in awe of having so much fun, having guys like CJ Graham and Tom Matthews come over and just hang out at the table or something. I got to sit with I had Beatrice Buckley, who played Amanda Kruger, who sat with me at Phantasm, and Mick Strawn and Nick Benson, and it's like, wow, these guys are so cool. And it's just been a whirlwind. It's like I haven't even really had a chance to absorb it because I did 4 conventions in 5 months.
Well,
Now it's
man,
kind
I'm
of
a believer in, I think good things happen for good people. And you've got to, like you said, you're looking out for just, you're helping talented guys get noticed, it sounds like. And your love for horror and your personality is able to help them transcend through that. And that's the thing. You were so proud of those guys, your friends that were doing this. When you showed me the Friday the 13th 3 box, I was like, it took everything I had not to pick that one up too. But the thing that I really think that was so cool, and I think that it's going to be awesome for your journey here, man, is those custom. Like I bought the leather. I'm pretty good friends with R.A. Mahaloff. I bought the Leatherface box off you, and you were like, "These are for, go get them signed, man, by the people." And I took it over to R.A. and I was like, "I just bought this." And he's like, "Man, I haven't even seen this. What is this? Is there a movie in it?" And I'm like, "Nah, man, just open it up, check it out. Look at keychains, magnets," and he was blown away. And he signed it. And I think once people, excuse me, are buying these and taking them around and getting them autographed, all the people that were in these films are going to be blown away. Also, like you said, you've had some of the people that join you at your table and stuff that's mind blowing, and I felt the same way also.
yeah, it's been cool. Yeah, the VHS boxes is something that Thomas Bruce, when I met him, he was doing keychains and just the little magnets, and it's some really cool stuff. And then I started buying a bunch of stuff from him, and we all kind of came together, decided to do the VHS boxes, because we were talking about doing Doomsday's Crypt boxes, loot boxes to have all different things. And somehow it came to the VHS boxes. Thomas started doing those. And it's like, well, we can't just copy and paste because then we're going to be running it. It's fine for conventions, and we didn't really do a lot. We kind of did a test sample. And it's like, well, we got Michael Toth who does this incredible art. Let's see if I can. He just sent me. These are for the new VHS boxes that are for Beatrice Buckley. I'll show you the art from them. But here's the back side of the VHS box. So there's Amanda Kruger with Freddie, and she's got baby Freddie coming out. And I love this cover. This is the cover for it for the new VHS boxes. I think you've probably seen them online. And
Yes.
yeah, we're just doing that with Mike's art and these VHS boxes, and I'm a fan of them too. I'm glad you liked it. The Leatherface boxes really went fast.
Yeah.
We might print some more, but we want to keep them really limited. So somebody like you who bought one of the first ones, hopefully it becomes a real cool collector piece that you have in your collection that becomes, possibly something of value for you. So, and it keeps Mike busy with the art. That's the whole thing. I don't want just Mike to do something. I want us to be continuously rolling out new merch, new ideas. Like you said with Thomas Bruce, he's doing all the production. He's been cranking stuff out. He's been coming up with great ideas on his end. But all three of us brainstorming. Got other people that we just try to add to the team. Like that's really the focus going into 2023 is having a really sick Doomsday's Krypt team. And we got a really good base. Lonnie McCollum's been working with me. He's done those Freddy's and the Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's doing a new Pumpkinhead. He does the Pennywises, and his work is insane. His paint is insane.
I'll
And
tell you, man,
yeah,
it sounds like you guys this is going to turn out to be something very special. I feel like, dude, you're really passionate about it, and you've surrounded yourself with some really talented guys. And I feel like I've got a friend that does a lot of horror. He's such a great artist, dude. And I just you turned it around and I seen the Halloween, the house right there, and it blew my mind. And I'm
Yeah,
going
it
to
lights up too.
that one right there. Yes, I'm going to step over here and I'm going to grab something and show you that his cat made because it blew my mind because it looks just like this.
Oh, it's spot on. Vinny Cucarato, what he does, and I know he's getting ready to do some more, but they take so much time and effort from him. He's been doing more 3D printing. But that dude did construction for like 35, 40 years, and it shows on these dioramas he does. So yeah, it's I've been lucky and fortunate enough that I've met so many talented people, and it seems like it's worked out because I got a ton of respect for them and collaborating. I played sports as a kid, and I know you're an athletic guy,
Yeah.
and I always believe teams win championships, and that's what we're just trying to bring. No egos really, just guys who love horror and kind of work together to come up with these really cool things like the VHS boxes, and we got other plans for some really cool items and merchandise that are just different. And that's a tough thing is for artists and everybody. But I've been lucky enough to find the right ones that we all get along well enough that we can work together and really start producing some crazy stuff. Like these cutouts behind me and now they're black light all became because my mom has a scooter and that Phantasm. She was knocking over tables. So we always had this joke, me, Anthony Greco, um, that we got to get her a maximum overdrive goblin is for the front of her scooter, and I was trying to find one before the Phantasm event, and Mike's like, well, I could probably do something out of cardboard, and I absolutely love these cardboard
Oh,
cutouts.
I love the Leatherface and the Christmas hat. I thought I seen that the other day, and I was man, I
Oh,
was like,
yeah, well, tell you what, if you give me a sec, I can only move it so much,
"Oh,
but
you're fine, dude.
the
You're fine."
I'll turn on the black light because I don't think people get an idea when you go and look at it how cool these things are. So I got to give Mike a lot of love. If I could find a switch for the black light up here, here it is. But I mean, you see these things and they're just insane. They pop so well.
Oh yeah, dude. Those are bad to the bone. I mean, it is unbelievable how talented that dude is.
And you know how he gets this stuff done like in no time. That's what really kind of floors me, man. I mean, he like bangs this stuff out. You should see the new piece he's doing. We're doing actually a Doomsday Krypt 3-Eye Demon box. We've been talking about doing a comic story to it and whatnot. And he's banging out this new piece that's probably one of my favorites so far that he's done. And as you see, he's done some pretty sick pieces. Like I said, he did the Doomsday Demon.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was just
It
done.
wasn't now. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but did you say that the logo for that was one of your friends?
What
Was
the
that you with the
logo?
beard?
That's actually an interpretation of me, like
Yeah,
doodling.
yeah. Okay. See, I
Yeah,
seen. I think it might have been Thomas that posted. It was one of his friends because somebody posted on the logo, the Doomsday. Like, man, is that looks like Rob Zombie? And he's like, well, that's one of my friends that I that.
yeah, that's actually me. It was taken with a picture that I was drunk in Florida, and I was like pulled out the hair, and like,
There
and
you
it
go.
just kind
Oh
of,
yeah.
it just kind of came to the way it did. Don't ask how. It was just taking some pictures, and it kind of came out to like a cool little logo. So we went with that.
It's perfect, dude.
Actually,
And
I got
it looks great on a t-shirt also.
yeah, yeah. Gotta always rep.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
there's
for
a
sure.
lot of people are loving them. But yeah, we're working on a lot of things for the Doomsday Demon. So we got some stories. We're already coming up with characters. So hopefully that'll be coming out with like loot boxes that you'll have some cool item from Michael Toast. Maybe there'll be a VHS box in there, an autograph, and some real talent from the horror community. And yeah, it's like I said, it's honestly a real like it's I'm humbled because I these guys are so talented that you see. and the fact that they believe in me enough to go and put it on the table and know that I'm real proud of them. And I mean, like I said, there wouldn't be Doomsday Krypt if it wasn't for all the talent that I've met and I've run into, whether it's Jesse Aarons, Daniel Cruz, Vinny Cucarato, Michael Toth, as you know, Thomas Bruce, Lonnie McCollum. I mean, the list can go on and on and on and on with all these guys. Scott Straka, who does amazing art. I don't want to leave anybody out, but these guys are amazing talents. That some of them you've heard of, and some of them you might not have. But they definitely deserve to be seen and recognized for their hard work because they do some unbelievable stuff that it's an honor for me to own in my possession. It's like,
Oh
wow, this
gosh.
is
I mean, that room is so cool. And it's like when you showed me that Halloween house, it got me thinking, my character in professional wrestling is the human horror movie. So each event I come out as a different horror icon. And I have a really talented artist friend, man. And he's basically he's did artwork for Deborah Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 5. Adam Marcus, obviously from Jason Goes to Hell, the guy screenwriter, but he had made some of these and just gave them to me, and I was like, he didn't even think I would have worn them, and this is just something he did. This is the Michael Myers. I don't know if you see it.
that is really cool. Yeah,
I mean, and this one
that's
is,
great.
he did this like in
That's
a day or
360. He's got the back of the house too. Wow, yeah, that's really cool.
two. Here
I
was the
like
one that
that a
really
lot.
blew my mind, and he did it. I don't know how many years ago, and like I said, it's collected dust a little bit, but the Amityville house.
Yeah, that thing's sick.
I mean,
Some of the work that some of these guys do is just it really, it I'm just like you. I'm a big fan of these guys that do stuff like this. And I mean, I always love seeing it. Oh yeah, I had one. I wound up letting it go. I'm a big Hellraiser fan, so I need to up my Hellraiser game.
listen, dude, this was done. I mean, he did this. I came out as Pinhead. I had a Pinhead mask. I wore it to the ring, took it off, and came out with this. And he did this in a matter of, I'd say, probably a couple hours. But he's just so talented, and it makes me think of your situation. How I'd always bring him with me because I want to. I mean, he would paint kids' faces up and do art for me, a lot of art for me, and I can't thank him enough. But I did everything. I always wanted him to show his art, his talent off, and he got kind of. I mean, he done some really cool stuff for. I don't know if you're familiar with the Rock and Roll Express, Jim Cornette, some
Yeah,
older.
yeah.
He did a
Back
lot
in
of
the '80s.
Flying Brian Pillman. I mean, he did some cool
Yep.
stuff for his son. But yeah, we he sent some stuff to them. I think he actually like done a drawing of Brian Pillman's Flying Brian holding his son. He actually it was wild, but yeah, you're doing an awesome thing, dude. And first off, how'd you like Scarefest? Was it your first time there?
Loved it. Yeah, it was my first time there, and it's definitely one I'll be hitting again. One of the things I've learned is every event I've enjoyed, but certain ones are just you gotta go to. Scarefest is one, Crypticon's another one that does amazing events, and really pick and choose the right ones for you. There's a bunch that I want to try out this year, so I'm keeping the ones that I usually do that I have a great time. Like I said, I've had a great time at all of them, whether it's Phantasm or Spookala. But where I live, it's a long drive to go to Florida. So this year, I'm not sure I'll go to Florida to put on a table. I might go to Florida and check out the events because a lot of the promoters are great guys.
Yeah.
Both promoters that I've dealt with, Anthony Greco and also Deej with Spookala. They put on a great event, really fun to go to. It's just a lot to go there. So I'm trying, like this year, I'm trying to keep it 10 hours and less drive time because loading this stuff up and doing and then packing it up at the end. There's just so much work that goes into it for a 3-day weekend, which I love. It's an addiction to do it, but when you're doing a long drive and stuff, I want to keep it so I could do more without taking so much time away.
How many would you
So
prefer to hit 1 year, John?
if I could, I'd go to one every month or two every month, but I gotta work my job too. Well, I mean, if I was doing them consistently for work, but I do them more or less to at least at this point, like 2023, I really want to turn the brand into like a really profitable thing. Instead, I've really spent a lot of money, more than anything, investing into Doomsday Krypt because I believe in it, the artists, and all these talented people. And there's certain things like that aren't for sale, like that Michael Myers behind me signed by PJ Souls, Nick Castle, James Jude Courtney, Chris Duran, Don Shanks, um, Tamara Glynn from Part
Wow.
Five. I mean, just a ton of people that you could never get. I mean, Nick Castle, you're just not going to get those
And you know
names on
that
there. You know?
that is worth more. I mean, it's worth its price in gold to someone like me and you. I mean,
Yeah,
but I mean
something
that's
I couldn't myself.
yeah. If you got your favorite franchise, you know it's like me and my wife and son went to Days of the Dead in Indiana. I think it was Indianapolis in 2012, and it was the biggest Texas Chainsaw Massacre reunion at the time. And I got to meet Marilyn Burns, Terry, and Gunner, and it was just 2 years later we lost Marilyn and Gunner. But I was blessed enough to be there to get to meet my heroes. And that was the first time I met Ari Mihailoff, who had become a pretty good friend of mine. I mean, I talk to him probably a couple times a month. He comes on my podcast and conventions, hangs out with us. I mean, just a really solid dude, also. But and I mean, like that back there, that bust, what the names you've got on that dude is, I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, I got yeah Will Sandin, the kid who played young Michael Myers in the '78. It's loaded with history on there. It's a piece I love so much too with the Myers house. I could change out the masks. That's about it. But the rest of it's got to stay. The bust, the house. It's just things that are take a lot of time for somebody to build. So even if I know Vinny, if I ask him, he'd build me another one. But it takes so much time out of all the busy stuff he's doing. And it's great to know he's been so busy lately, just doing so much stuff. But these dials, even for him, there's just so much work into it, and the amount you can make to do it compared to it being worth it. So yeah, I know he loves doing them, and I just like something different this time
Yeah.
because I got the Big John, Little John, I got the Myers. Like I'm set on Michael Myers right now. So
Yeah.
the next step is more Terrifier. I think's the next, and obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um, maybe a little bit more of Dawn of the Dead. Love that movie. So I don't know. It's just you never know. Like I avoided Spirit Halloween this year a whole lot because I was going to conventions, and it's an addiction. It's like I see something I really like and I want it. I gotta have it. And
It's a love, man. It's ever since I've been like 3 to 4 years old, I've been horror movies played a huge part of my life, man. I mean, it's just the thing, you take to and just meeting the cast and crews of all these movies you grew up with. And it's like you said, it's addictive. It's fun and it's a harmful addiction. I mean, it can mess with your billfold a little bit. But other than
well, the good thing is I work a lot and I'm single, and I've kind of intentionally been single, and I don't have like anything holding me back from being able to. I did the whole relationship things before. Nothing against them, I love them, but um, for right now, with my career that I'm doing, and then the Doomsday's Crypt that I'd like to grow, the best part about it is I work a ton of hours, and I'm
yeah,
able to invest into this brand. And I don't, it's I don't have anything kind of having to worry about. My daughter's grown up, my son's grown up. They're all in their 20s now, so like horror movies was a big part of my '80s. I was born in '76, so I grew up watching my mom put on Psycho and was all excited. The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock movies, and then I saw '78. Everybody would talk about it as a kid. Oh, Michael Myers, scariest, Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. And I wound up seeing it probably when I was 6 years old, 7 years old, scared the shit out of me. Oh, am I right to swear? Scared the crap out of me. And yeah, and ever since then that became my favorite because there's nothing like that scare that you'll get as a kid. Nothing,
oh, it's
especially now, it'll never be
once you grow out of that feeling of being scared of something on TV, it's almost like losing your innocence. I can remember my mom taking it's funny you brought your mom, my mom pretty much the same way. I had two older brothers, one about age actually, and there was a time when my older brothers and my cousin wanted to go see Friday the 13th Part 7 in the theater. Well, my mom obviously thought I was too young, wouldn't realize what was going on, and I screamed and cried that whole movie. Scared to death. I'll never forget Kane Hodder with the circular saw on the end of the weed eater, hunting down the guy. And I can remember just being so frightened, and then her putting Pet Cemetery on. And when I was a kid, but little did I know that was going to become a huge part of who I was, because I guess that fear or that excitement of being so scared of that actually carried over, and I fell in love with the genre after that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I did love horror, and I got to the point where, now they're beloved more. But when Child's Play got into Bride of Chucky and stuff, and I still love it. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah,
I've grown to like it. But I was at that age in high school where it's like, all right, they're kind of making it more comedy than
yeah,
horror. I was getting into other things. I was doing a lot of different stuff, and then horror kind of left my life for a little bit I'd say in my 20s and 30s and later teens, just for a little bit. And then it just started kicking in again. And it was like, man, I really missed these horror movies. I missed watching, Pumpkinhead. I got to see a lot of these movies that I love. Halloween 4 and 5 in
big
the
time.
movie theater. I know people didn't really love the part 5, but for me as a kid, 12 years old,
I enjoyed it
going
the
and
same.
watching, yeah,
I feel
going
the
to,
same way about Part 6, probably, because a lot of people wasn't wild about it. But I can remember being in the hospital. I had pneumonia in my fifth grade year when Part 6 was out. So it was like a big deal. I wanted to be out of the hospital to watch Halloween 6. Well, I had to wait till it came out on video. When it did, I loved it. But a lot of people didn't like Part 5 or 6. But I enjoyed them both up until I hated Resurrection. Really, I think I really the only one I really hated.
Resurrection was my least favorite in the series. Was um
So you're going to be
Halloween
so
4.
you're feeling that way about the last one.
Well, yeah. Well, but let me touch on part 6. I love part 6 too. I'm not a big fan of the Thorn story arc
Yeah,
at all, at
right.
all. And but I love Michael was brutal. The deaths were really cool. I love the soundtrack to it. I
Yes,
love that.
Brother Kane.
Um, yeah, Brother Kane. I didn't love the producer cut. I know a lot of people did. It was missing the father's head exploding, which I loved that scene. I thought that was one of the great
Oh
kills in the
gosh,
Halloween
brutal.
franchise. Yeah, it had a weird ending, but you had, Dr. Loomis. That was his last movie. That was, um, you know, the Legends. Even though it was a sloppy movie, I found so much fun in it. Paul Rudd was probably at his worst in acting there was as Tommy Doyle, but I still loved it. I
It
loved
did
the end when he smashed them, and I don't know. There was so many bad things about the movie, but the things I loved about it,
that
made it
way.
okay. They made Michael Myers a badass. When
When he
you
came
take
walking
that away from him,
across, when he came walking across the street with that thunderstorm behind him, man, that's one of the baddest scenes of the Halloween, in my opinion, of the Halloween franchise. When he's walking across that street and it's lightning out,
yeah,
he's not. I mean, he's big in this one, and to me, it's one of my favorites. But I didn't like you. I didn't care much for the Thorn. I didn't
yeah.
care
The
much for that.
story I didn't care, but Michael Myers being a badass, I can always offset a movie if Michael Myers is badass in it. And now I know a lot of people hated Season of the Witch. I always liked it.
I did too.
The reason people didn't like it was at the time, they thought it was a Michael Myers movie. They just made it Season of the Witch. It wasn't the end of a trilogy. I thought like Halloween 1 and 2 ended it well, and I thought Halloween 4 was a great movie. And I would love to see like a better sequel to Halloween 4, but I still love Halloween 5 and 6.
I
H2O
was
was not my
intrigued.
favorite
I was intrigued by the Man in Black as a kid, but I thought they dropped the
until you
ball.
found out.
Yeah,
Until you
dropped the ball.
found out. Well, they didn't know what they were doing with it. It was interesting at part 5. It's like, what's going on? But as I'm older, it's kind of like one of those things. You don't need to explain Michael Myers that much. It's kind of what they do right in Terrifiers. They don't. explain art too much. They leave it a mystery, and that's the problem when you start trying to explain why he's evil, why he's doing this. And I thought Ends could have been a great movie, and I think they could have handed the torch over to like a Corey character where Michael Myers was the end, but the shape continued.
Yes, I agree.
The
That's the
whole
way
movie,
I imagined
yeah. If it was done over three movies, like you saw him, his arc of being a good kid, went through something hellacious, and then at the end of the third trilogy, whether he's the one who kills Myers or whatever, you did have to have him looking in the eye and having that moment together. You didn't even have to really have that with them.
it.
It just transitioned. His evil just happened, and the shape. That's about all I need for that story. And then I would have been cool with like a different shape.
Yeah,
Because even
like a
Nick
spin-off
Castle,
or something.
well, not even spin-off. You could have taken at it where Jamie Lee Curtis has the mask on her table, and next thing you know, it's gone.
Yeah,
I mean, there was so many better ways. They just tried to cram like his trilogy in one movie, and then it took away from Michael Myers. I don't care. I want to see Michael Myers be badass. People, oh, it gets tired with Michael Myers, blah 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 blah. Yeah, but I'm going to see Michael Myers. If I'm tired of Halloween and Michael Myers, I'll go watch a different movie, a different franchise. But I hate that. I hate when people do that. Now, if somebody loves the movie, I'm not going to knock them for it. To each their own. I know a lot of people that think it's the best in the trilogy. And I'm not going to say, oh, you're not a Halloween fan or a Michael Myers fan. This is just from my perspective.
yeah.
If I want to see a Halloween movie, I want it, and I got the expectation that Michael Myers is going to be in it. I expect him to be in it.
Well,
And Halloween 3 never did that. Yeah. Now, Resurrection was my least favorite, but it was kind of like a throwaway movie. But this was the end of a trilogy, and I just hated what they did with it. I knew from the beginning scene when the kid went down, this something ain't right about this movie. I mean, it's a cool scene and all, but something's. Yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried, and it's kind of like H2O for me. And H2O, I've grown to like more, but I thought there was a lot of wasted kills. It was using too much scream. It just didn't feel like a Halloween movie to
it
me.
did.
And I
It
know it
felt,
was a great story.
to me, H2O felt almost like Scream. It's kind of like they took the teenage. I mean, it didn't. I don't know if it's the change of the times because it was late '90s at that point, But to me, Michael Myers was skinnier. The mask looked weak.
Yeah,
Um, but I love, like you said, you've grown to enjoy it. I have too. I've grown to enjoy it. Like I have Friday the 13th Part 5. As a kid, I hated it. The older I get, the more I kind of like that.
I met Chris Duran at Phantasm. Super cool guy. I hung out a lot with him, had some drinks with him after the show, spent a lot of time with him. An awesome guy. But yeah, H2O wasn't my favorite, but I don't think it had anything to do with him or anything. It's just I didn't like the scream. Like it just felt like they were trying to be a different movie than a Halloween movie. But
Well,
it was better than Resurrection.
oh yeah,
Resurrection,
I
but
was
how
so
H2O kind
heartbroken
of
over
ended.
Resurrection, man.
Well, the thing is, you take away like the Jamie Lee Curtis brother sister thing. Now I know John Carpenter hated it, and you're going from H1 to 2018. I don't know. I think that was a big mistake right there, not having like the brother sister connection because there was just no. But that's just me. But I, I don't know. There was just something so bad about the last movie. It hurt. And to me, Halloween was always about Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis in Michael's story more than it was Jamie Lee Curtis in Michael Myers' story.
You're right. You are absolutely right. And he kind of got the mythology and the legend of Dr. Loomis basically died. I mean, it's not even brought up hardly, and it's a shame. Well, the first, what was it, 2018? You had his assistant or whatever.
Kills gave a little nod to it though. And they
Yeah.
had that guy who came in the flashback scene.
Oh, that
That
was
would have been
nice.
cool. I thought when they were going after kills, I thought ends would go into a flashback scene. Like I thought it'd be some flashbacks of while he was in prison or something, and
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis's life through it. Like a little bit of that. I did not expect the movie to be what it was. Like I don't know.
Well,
I
I'll
was
tell
hoping
you
another
what, John,
comedian.
I've got some cool, like when I was thinking about this conversation, I'm like, I wanted to get his Doomsday Krypt. I wanted that to be laid out. I wanted him to tell everybody what it was about, and you've done a wonderful job of that. I'm a massive fan of it. I like what you're doing. I love your artist. Everybody that's involved in it. I think it's going to be, it's already, gaining traction. And I think the convention scene, it's going to keep going because you've got the right idea. You've got the right people involved with you. You're helping them, get their name out there and stuff. And that's helping each other. That's what it's about. But I wanted to ask some horror questions, just straight up, come up with
All
some
right.
questions. And I said, well, let's go about 8. So the first one, I mean, you basically explained some of these already, but your favorite horror films ever, probably the Halloween, would you say?
Halloween 78 is my all-time favorite horror. But there's a lot of honorable mentions too.
Yeah.
Psycho, I don't think gets the love it should still. I think it gets forgotten at times. Alfred Hitchcock was a legend, scared me a lot as a kid. There were some movies. So, but Halloween 78 is number one. For
That
sure.
would be, I would go Texas Chainsaw 74, which leads me to my next question with you, which I believe I already know. Favorite era, 70s, 80s, or 90s?
I'm gonna have to go 80s because I got to experience it more.
Okay.
But I love the 70s. I love the 70s too. But with VHSs and able to go to the movies in the 80s, and I don't know.
Lots
80s
of
is
great
mine.
memories.
Yeah. I think the experience is really what sets it above the 70s.
So Myers would be your favorite slasher, right?
I would say that, but there's so many good ones, whether it's Jason, Freddy, and Art the Clown's really kind of captured me as, recently. I don't know, they're doing it right with horror in that sense with him because it was an indie project and horror's always kind of been indie. And now like whenever like they want to make a film now, they've got too much of a budget. I don't think that people really understand the film the way you expect it or understand the fans and what they need, not to do just fan service, but understand in the fans' head. Let's try to make the best movie we can and understand how the fans feel about this.
Terrifier 2 has been
Yeah,
a pleasant surprise to the horror world. I mean, it is it kept getting weekend after weekend after weekend. It was starting to grow and gain traction, and that's awesome to see if you're a fan of the genre like we are. But favorite zombie movie?
oh wow, that's I love Dawn of the Dead, but yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna have to say, you know what? This is gonna probably shock a lot of people. Train to Busan, I thought was so well done. To me, the Koreans are killing it in the zombie genre, and I love Dawn of the Dead. I love Return of the Living Dead. That's a great one. Night of the Living Dead. But I think the most fun one I've watched lately, it took over like my number one. And all those other ones I named are still up there. Even the remake of Dawn of the Dead, I loved a
I
lot.
did too.
I'm gonna have to go with Train to Busan. It was just entertaining. I mean, it was just done so well. Whether you like running zombies or not, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go Train to Busan.
Awesome. Now this, I want to switch gears a little bit. You're going to give me your favorite and least favorite sequel of the franchise that I'm going to name off to you. Does that sound like a plan?
All right.
First one, Nightmare on Elm Street.
My least favorite is well, are we going remake?
Anything.
I mean, the remake of Freddy's Dead were pretty poor. But at least Robert Englund was in Freddy's Dead, so I'll go the remake.
Got you. Halloween.
Halloween ends. For me right now, I know it's this divisive movie, but for me it just hurt the franchise more than any other film in the series.
Friday the 13th.
My least favorite Jason Goes to Hell.
I agree. It was just
I
too
and
far out
I'm a
there.
part five fan. Like I like Roy. I loved part five. We used to watch it when I'd get home from school. Me and my buddy would go to his house. I've seen part five many times. Love that movie. So I know that's a hated one, but I love it.
I agree. And, my brother, when we were younger, I used to go on about how bad I hated it, because Jason, and I was younger, and he was like, man, that's a good one if you sit down and watch it and think about it. And I was like, oh, no, he wasn't even in it. And then the older I got and kept watching, I was like, man, this is a pretty good movie. Great storyline also. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, the worst one. Hmm. There's been some really, let's see. I actually liked the new one because
I did
I
too.
thought it was a good slasher. I didn't like it as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Um, I'm gonna have to go with the beginning was pretty bad, but I like some of the actors in it. Um, oh, the beginning one was, yeah, I, yeah. What was it? The 2017 was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. That one was pretty rough too.
That was
Not
2013.
Leatherface, not Leatherface one, not the original part three, but the other part
Yeah,
three was rough. I
3D.
don't know. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna have to go. The 3D wasn't that good. I didn't like the look. It had some good moments. Yeah, you know what's funny is there's most the of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. I don't like totally hate any of them,
yeah.
which is ironic. I know there's some that people just despise, but I'll have to say I'll go with the beginning just because that's probably the easiest answer. But
The
yeah,
one
it's
that
right up there with
really,
that.
the one that bothered me so bad was the one before the last one, the Leatherface one, where
Yeah, that one's probably. You know what? I'm going to change it to that one because that one was. There were moments I liked the build up, and then the movie just got stupid.
I felt like the family, the actors were they were easily spotted. You know, they were European actors like the cook and the hitchhiker is young, and it was just
Yeah,
it was. I'm glad they did the one they put on Netflix because it went back and it was a fun movie, like you said. But Child's Play, you talked a little bit about Child's Play earlier. So which one would you say is your least favorite one of them?
yeah, Chucky's definitely the worst for me. I wasn't into Seed, but even all of them. I mean, once you get Chucky in a movie, even the remake, I liked with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it as much as I wish they didn't call it Child's Play. But I thought it was actually entertaining. I watched it. It was kind of a unique idea.
I took my
I'd
son to
have to,
that. He was young, and we went and watched Child. It was a good remake. We had a good time, man. I couldn't say anything bad
yeah,
about it.
yeah. I like the idea of the little twist to it. I mean, it's just like a lot of remakes. It's like just use a different name and do something different with it. But
The
hey,
last
what are
one
you gonna
I
do?
the last one I got for you, John, is Hellraiser. One of your, you talked about you've got a you like Hellraiser a lot. So which one would you say
I
would be the
do.
least?
Oh my God, man! There's some I haven't watched because they were so bad I couldn't get through it. Um, wow.
I enjoyed the first
I've
three a
actually
lot.
like Judgment. I think it was Judgment, like the second to last one before the remake one that they did. I think it was that one, but I don't know. Hellraiser kind of went downhill for me when it just felt like it was just a script, and they're like, well, to keep the rights, let's just throw Pinhead in there.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, I love Hellraiser one and two. Part
yeah.
three started for me going down a little bit. I did like Bloodlines, and then I'd watch them when I'd see them you wouldn't even hear that they were coming out, and I'd grab them at the video store. But there's probably two or three I have not watched yet,
That
because he just didn't. Yeah,
it was.
I
I
don't
know
know.
what you're saying. I mean, they don't even look like Pinhead. Some of the ones were so bad that I couldn't even attend them, like you said.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know what the names are. Some of them, but I did like the one right before the remake, even though I'm sure some didn't like it. Heather Langenkamp had a Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street one and three had a cameo, and New Nightmare had a cameo in it, just a small one, but I kind of liked it. It was bloody. It kind of got back, and it was fun. I wasn't bored through the movie, but
You
there's
know,
there's ones I just haven't seen.
the first two were awesome, man. They were different. I mean, they were. Clyde Barker brought something different to the genre at that point because it was psychological, dark. I mean, torture. It was different than everything else that had been out.
It was. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to, and I want to say it's either on Shutter or Screenbox. I think Leviathan, the Hellraiser documentary.
Yeah.
It's a documentary in Hellraiser one and Hellraiser number two. There's like two parts to it, and it's fantastic. I love hearing about that movie as much as I love both movies, the documentary I almost might be a fan of even more. Just hearing the actors, the experience, the behind the scenes stuff with like the claymation, the motion capture that they used in some scenes in Hellraiser 2, and how they did the makeup. That kind of stuff fascinates me. I thought it was one of the best documentaries I've seen of a horror movie to date. Uh, yeah, yeah. Actually, I spoke to Simon Bamford, who played Butterball. We're talking about bringing him on the show for an interview, so that'd be pretty cool.
That would be cool, man. I hope you get that lined out. That would be an excellent one to listen to.
Yeah, yeah. We've kind of gone back and forth, but he's in the UK. I think the time difference, but he's definitely said he's interested in doing that. So that's pretty cool.
Well, John, man, it's been fun, dude. I'm glad you agreed to come on, and I know you're a busy man. You've got a lot going on. I'd like for you, if you've got anything to plug, what if you'd like to tell everybody how they can check you out, go right ahead and let them know.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on. I got to bring you on my show. I've had a great time. I know with Doomsday's Crypt, it's one of those things. It's just it's hard to explain what it is. It's just a horror group that's kind of growing in all different directions. But you can find us on Facebook, Doomsday's Crypt with a K. There's the Facebook page and group. I recommend the group, but still check out the page. I'm kind of on Instagram and I'm on YouTube too. And yeah, there's going to be a big year for 2023. I don't have a lot of announcements yet, but there's going to be conventions, loot boxes, more VHS boxes, just a bunch of pretty much
Well,
everything.
listen, you've aligned yourselves with some really talented guys, and like just the stuff in your room behind you and to the sides of you is for a horror fanatic like myself, man. I could sit and just dissect the detail and all that stuff, and it's awesome getting to know you, dude. And yeah, well, I'll come on your show and we'll shoot the bull, and hopefully we'll get you back on here before the next heck before Scarefest, or if you've got a convention coming up soon around the Kentucky area, we'll get you on here and make sure everybody knows you're going to be there.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Scarefest is a definite, so I will see you there.
All right, the human horror movie Doomsday Krypt at Scarefest, man, it sounds like a killer time right there.
Be awesome. Love
John,
having you.
thanks for joining me, man, and I appreciate you having you on. And stay scary, my man.
Absolutely, brother. Take care.
You too.